If you want cheap and reliable coins for either FIFA Mobile or FIFA 18, check out FIFAcoin.com. They also have a pack opening system where you can possibly get some amazing players on your account, so check them out, link in the description down below. Use Fangs for a 5% discount.
Hey guys, how's it going? It is Fangs, and welcome to a semi-serious slash storytime type of video that I'm going to be bringing you on my channel here today. So I haven't done storytime on my channel in a long time, and you're probably going to be seeing a pack opening. I didn't know if you guys wanted to just stare at me or if you wanted to stare at gameplay with it, because I think I used to have gameplay at least, so I did Call of Duty gameplay behind it at some points, but I know that I always had some type of FIFA gameplay with it as well. My lips, by the way, you guys might have noticed in a lot of videos, they're super chapped. When you're pregnant, you get super, like, literally I have to drink water all the time or you're dehydrated. So I'm sorry if they're like cracking and look really bad right now. I apologize. But anyway, so as you can tell by the title of this video, I have a story to tell you, and it's actually been 3 years since this happened, maybe even longer than that, but I didn't want to make it a big deal when it happened, mostly because I didn't want the person who did it to feel like they accomplished anything, and so we tried to keep it a secret. And I know like maybe even 6 or 7 months after it happened, it actually happened as way back as well. So there's this thing, if you don't know about it, I'm sure everybody knows about it by now, although I did film a documentary recently and I told them about it and they had never heard of it, and it is called swatting. And swatting is probably one of the worst things that you can possibly do as like a viewer, whether you like someone, whether you hate someone. It just is not something that you need to be doing. It's very dangerous. People don't understand the whole idea. Like, if you're from a country, usually, I mean, I've heard it at least every time. It seems like it's happened to people that I know. It's someone that maybe is from like a country that doesn't allow guns or doesn't have to deal with guns. And so it's a very serious ordeal. So please, please, please do not do this ever. Like, you can go to jail for it, and someone here in the United States of America recently just went to jail for it and is probably gonna have a huge sentence because someone got killed because of it. But back in the day, and I lived in August at this time, I don't know if you guys remember, I used to live stream, and I did it all the time. It'd be very late at night, and it's just about the time, I don't know why, but with shooter games, this is when it happens. And so I usually stream FIFA. I've got a very good audience, you know, English, Germany, all kinds of different people from all over the world, a lot of Americans, and I used to stream really late at night. And so at one point, I was streaming and I wasn't really paying attention to anything, and I was just doing my thing. I think one of the Call of Duties had just come out, which at that time, I can't remember which one it would have been. It might have been like Black Ops 2. I mean, this was a while back, so it had just come out. I was playing it, I was super into it, and all of a sudden, we got a phone call. And it wasn't for me either, I didn't get the phone call. It was Will. He just got a phone call really quick, and it was his dad. And his dad was like, "What are you doing right now?" And Will was like, I'm sitting at my house in Austin. Why?" And he was like, "No, but like, what are you doing at your house in Austin?" He was like, "Me and Jesse are playing video games." Like, that's all we did at that time. So we didn't think anything of it, and then his dad just hung up on him really quick. And he was like, "What the heck was that?" He couldn't figure out what it was. And so we were just sitting around like thinking, why did his dad just call? His dad never just calls out of the blue like that. Why did he just call? I continue streaming, and then at one point, Will comes like from behind me. He says, "Mute your mic so that nobody can hear what I'm saying," I guess. And so I mute my mic, and he says, "You need to continue streaming for the next like 20 minutes, but you need to get off because I need to tell you something." And I'm like, oh God, like, this does not sound good. Like, I thought somebody had died, and I'm smiling when I said that. It's been so long. I thought someone had died. And I was like, oh my God, so I'm stressed out. I'm doing the rest of the live stream. I'm not trying to pay attention to anything. And the stream ends finally, and he comes in and he talks to me and he says, "Someone just tried to swat us." And I was like, oh my God, like freaking out because I knew it was a big deal. And I'm thinking like they're gonna come into my front door and they're gonna blow the place up and everything's gonna happen, and they're just gonna be like guns in my face and all this kind of stuff, because that's what normally happens. When someone gets swatted, they think it's funny to see that like the people come in, because sometimes it's gotten better. I think police kind of know what it is by now, but at that time, I mean, they would come in, they'd knock your door down maybe, somebody would answer the door, they'd come in, make you get on the ground, they'd be really physical because they're thinking that you're a threat. Like, in their minds, when you do a SWAT, you call it in, you think that you're a threat. So what happened is, we did not get swatted at our household. Someone tried to swat us. What they did, back in that time, my parents, or me at least, I was not listed. I'm online, I don't list my information. I try not to make it to where people can find out where I live, that kind of stuff, just for that stuff in general. Like, not because I'm afraid that somebody else is gonna come to my house and do something, but for that stuff in general, I don't want to have that happen, especially in a neighborhood with mine where there's a bunch of kids and it's just it's an unsafe environment for that. So I'm unlisted, but somebody went in there and they started looking through trying to find, they couldn't find my name, obviously, because I'm unlisted. They go through, try to find my dad's name, and my dad is unlisted too. My dad, he's just known about this, I feel like, since I don't even know when. Like, my whole life, I know my dad's never been listed in the phone book, and he's like, no one's gonna find me, I'm not gonna be listed in the phone book, like, this is not gonna happen. So they probably try to go in, try to find me, which I'm connected to my dad. They see that he's unlisted, so we have the same last name. So instead, they know Will, and they know Will's last name, and they try to look for where he lives, and where he's connected to, because of his driver's license, is not our place that we lived in Austin. Instead, it was his parents' house that is here in Fort Worth. And it was just, oh my God. So what had happened, we get a call back after, I mean, obviously it's like an hour later, and his dad calls back. And this has been an ordeal from hell for the both of them. So it started off like this. He is out and he is in his robe. His parents are like they're in their 60s. So, I mean, they're older, they might be late 50s, but I'm pretty sure, no, they're in their early 60s. So they're older and they're, you know, winding down. They go to bed at like 9 o'clock, but he happened to be up maybe watching some news or something like that. And he sees all these lights just going off everywhere. And they're in this really nice neighborhood. Like, nothing ever really happens like this in that neighborhood. So of course he's very curious. He's like, what is going on? You don't hear anything. There's no sirens, but there's like a helicopter light going around somewhere. And there's all these lights that are like shining. And they have this big, if you look in, like, well, I'm not gonna tell you what their house looks like, but they have a window in the front of their house that you can look out of. And so they go and he's like, okay, I'm just eating my ice cream. He goes and he looks out the window, and right when he looks, he can just see cars, just like different trucks, cars, cop cars everywhere. And they shine the light in on him in the window, and they say, we need you to come out with your hands up. And so he's sitting here eating this ice cream like, me? Like, I have to come out with my hands up? And they're like, yes, you have to come out with your hands up. And so he like drops the ice cream and he starts coming out, and they instantly like take him down to the ground. Like, they don't mess around. It's terrifying. They take him down to the ground. They handcuff him. He's on his knees. And sorry, my cat is just throwing a fit back here. He's on his knees, and they say, is there anyone else in the house? And he's like, yeah, my wife is in the house. And so they slowly ask her to come out. She has to come out, do the same thing. His mom has like terrible feet problems. She's got these pinched nerve problems. I feel so bad that she even had to deal with this, but they get her to come out. They put her on the ground. They handcuff her as well. And then they start saying like, where is there a Will Dubin here? Is there a Will here? And they start saying, is there a Will here? And you know, they're going through and they're like, yeah, that's my son. He's not here. He doesn't live here. And they're like, where does he live? Like, we got this call, and the call came in from Skype from someone that had an English accent. They said later, they had an English accent, and the guy had said, I have my wife here. I've killed my wife. I have 2 children. I've killed both of them as well. And I'm going to, like, if cops come, I'm gonna be like blazing. Like, I'm gonna be shooting people or whatever. So come get me, and this is where I live. And they gave his parents' address. So luckily, with all of what they'd figure out when they had those 2 come out, they're like, okay, so now they're freaking out thinking, okay, this is at another location. Where's your son? Your son has killed his wife. And at that time, we had just been married. We literally just got married. So his parents are freaking out like, what? Like, my son killed like his wife? Are you kidding me? Like, they just got married. I didn't think that there was that big of a problem going on there. And they were like, oh, I think his mom was hysterical at this point, and they're freaking out. They're like, I mean, he gets mad. I remember his mom saying like, he gets mad sometimes, but I can never imagine him killing somebody. And so yeah, they go on this, and they're like, yeah, he's killed his wife. We need to be able to get to him. Where does he live? And they're like, you know, freaking out. And then they went on to say in the middle of it, and he's killed his children. And at that point, that's whenever his dad clicked on, and he was like, they don't have kids. Like, there's no way that he could have possibly killed children. They don't have kids. And so we're like, what? They're like, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. It's 4 hours of interrogation that they go through before they even call us. So we're probably playing about 2 in the morning whenever this happens. It's all this interrogation they're going through, and then they finally get a hold of Will, and that's whenever they had him on speakerphone, and that's when his dad was asking him, what are you doing? And he said, yo, I'm playing video games, blah, blah, blah. And that's whenever it clicked for the SWAT team that this isn't a real call. Like, obviously someone has called the wrong address for one, for his poor parents who had to deal with this for so long, and on top of that, there's nothing going on. Like, I don't have kids, we don't have kids. It's not a real situation. So at that point, it's kind of come together, it's cooled down. Everyone in the neighborhood is out of their house watching this. So that's that embarrassing on top of that. It's scary, it's dangerous, they could have been shot and killed, but on top of that, everybody in the neighborhood is out watching it. So all of their neighbors are like, what's going on? Like, oh my god, they think maybe Will killed somebody. That it just makes mass hysteria happen whenever this happens. And so that took place, and they told me not to say anything. The police told me, don't say anything because you're gonna make this person feel like they won in that situation. And I never brought it up. People knew about it, like all my friends, the sidemen, anybody who knows me personally, any friend I ever have in Fort Worth knows about it because it was the biggest story for everybody in Fort Worth for the longest time. But it was scary and it was terrifying because, like, I would have felt so awful if something would have happened to his parents, if his mom or his dad would have had something happen. Maybe their age, not that they're that old, but their age and how much they stressed them out. What if they had like a stroke or a heart attack? What if they would have shot them? What if it would have actually come to my house and that same thing could have happened? And it didn't even, like, I think 5 months later it happened his way back, and his was even more scary because it was like a showdown on a bridge, assault rifles pointed at him, lasers, all different kinds of stuff. And so it's a very scary situation. It's happened to a ton of YouTubers, a ton of streamers, and it's one thing that I really, like, you think that you're being funny, you think that it's like, oh, I'm really getting at somebody by doing this, but really you're putting lives in danger. And because of that, and what recently happened with someone who in the Call of Duty community got swatted, they swatted the wrong address, someone did get killed. And so that makes me even more like terrified of it in general. And so I'd hope that you guys, anybody who's out there, who's ever even possibly thought that it would be a joke, I'd hope you'd realize the seriousness of it and you would never do it. But I wanted to bring, that was like something that happened, I wanted to bring you, or to you guys, and it was terrible. It's been a long time since it happened. I'm very happy that everything ended up safe and fine, and I'm happy that everything was good, but I hope that it doesn't happen to anyone else in the future. I hope that's something that starts to like diminish away and does not happen. And that is my story of how someone tried to swat me. Which was just crazy. It was just crazy. And it's hard. Like, that's why you have to hide your addresses as much as you can and all the different stuff. That's why when I'm in front of my house, I'm like covering everything, trying to cover stuff, just because you never know what's gonna happen. That is gonna be it for my story time for today, though. I hope you guys did enjoy the story. If you like stuff like this, you wanna see different gameplay, maybe Fortnite or something in the background, let me know. Like I said at the beginning, if you guys want to hit that 1,000 like mark, I really appreciate it. Helps me get my content out there. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Mostly FIFA right now, might be changing up as the baby is born, but while I can't really do much, I still try to do FIFA and stuff like that. I know it's kind of a dying game. Anyway, that's gonna be it for the video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, see you guys later.